This is the Inspection Pros Podcast, where we break down everything you need to know to grow a successful home inspection company. Join host Jake as we get insider knowledge from the industry's best on how to take your business to the next level.
Welcome back to the Inspection Pros Podcast. I'm very excited to once again have joining us Desmond Thornton of Thornton Home Inspections. Desmond has been a fantastic guest in the past, and we're very excited to have you back today. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
So for anyone who didn't see the last episode with you or doesn't know who you are, Desmond, could you give us a brief little background on you and Thornton Home Inspections?
Well, let's do this. Let's say, hey, go back to episode 26, start there, and then come back to this one. But no, basically, I'm out of Ringgold, Georgia, close to Chattanooga, Tennessee. I own Thornton Home Inspections. We have 3 locations here in the Chattanooga market, the Atlanta market, and the West Georgia market. We cover a lot of areas. We've been trying to expand a lot here in the last year or so. And we'll get into more about what we're doing to kind of do that and what kind of challenges we've ran into when going into new markets here later. But it's been a good journey for us, and basically my company started because of necessity in the market. I know that there's other industries in our market or in our real estate background right now that are needing certain I guess you can say intertwine of new blood, which is what was that one that I heard the other day? It was land surveying is one that if anybody's interested in expanding into that's something. And then appraisals. You can't find an appraiser in this area right now, so that may be something that if anybody's wanting to do something a little different, that's something that you can kind of look into. But yeah, we've been growing for the last 9 years. We'll be 10 years in February. So it's been a fast 10 years of being in business. So we're just trying to help people throughout their process of making sure that their home is safe and they're able to sleep at night whatever they purchase.
Absolutely. So because I had met you at IEB and I know you have your ear to the ground, I'm very excited to have Desmond on today to talk about some challenges in the industry. I know that everyone's facing challenges today with the current market, and so I really wanted to have Desmond on to talk about what are some of the challenges that not only his business is facing today, but some of the businesses that he's familiar with are facing in the industry, and then how to get past those challenges. How do you pivot to keep going when you're faced with an obstacle? So Desmond, I guess the first question for you would be, what are some of the differences you've seen since that episode 26? Since we last had you on, what are some of the differences in the industry that you've seen?
Wow, it's funny you say that because there's a lot of differences, and there's a lot of things that were working back then that just does not work right now. And it is odd because it doesn't mean that it's not something that actually works. It's just not working at this moment. So if you're doing something, continue to do it, but maybe pivot towards something that may work a little bit more efficiently, but don't give up on what you've been doing because it obviously works. So we're doing kind of a thing of that in our company where we're focusing on, real estate agents for the last, year, 2 years of trying to build those relationships with them, which is the best way to keep your business afloat and keep it going, keep it thriving. But also, we're reaching out directly to the consumer through social media, through ads, through SEO, and we're actually revamping our website right now for that reasoning is, we want to get to the people that need our services faster, quicker, and more efficiently. So that's what we're kind of working on doing that. So there's always different challenges, but that's one of the big things that I noticed that, agents are not in offices. So when you're wasting your gas, in this moment right now, gas is extremely high. So, going to those offices and those agents are not there, it's really difficult to justify the means of doing that. But we're doing, ads, we're calling, we're just trying to be in front of these agents and these clients as more efficiently as possible.
Yeah. So off air, you had told me, we had talked a little bit about your website, how you had focused on the agents, and now you're switching the focus on the website to really speak to the end consumer, the person getting the inspection at the end of the day. And so I love this, the way you kind of shifted your view here, because it seems to me like you really put it into two boxes. When you're aiming for the agents, that's for the long-term the long-term business growth. And then when you're aiming towards the end consumer, is that what you consider more short-term to pick up now, but the agents is where we get the long-term growth?
It's a little bit of both. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit of both. But yes, I think the way that you described it is correct when it comes to a consumer. It is a short-term transactional type invite to the consumer. But then again, there is that long-term dividend when it comes to your consumer, because honestly, if you think about it, the agent's only there for a short period of time, such as you are as a home inspector. But if you can figure out some way to enhance your value to that particular client, mm-hmm. then you have an avenue of, being a resource for them. It could be other services that you may offer, in your business, like sewer scope or, mold or things of that nature that you can supply. But then again, you may have a home maintenance company that you have that they may need your services at a later date. So you have that aspect. So that's kind of what my concept is kind of going straight to the consumer and giving them as much information, not overload, but enough to where if they do need some of the services that you may offer, they know who to call.
Yeah. And I'm wondering what that looks like with the shift of language. And I know in the digital marketing world, they call it copy, but the words you're writing and how you're speaking online, do you see that you have to shift that a lot to reach the client?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's like one of the big things, because when you're talking to a real estate agent, you're talking to them in a way of, how can I help your business grow? Mm-hmm. How can I make your life a little easier? And that's really what you're trying to speak to and build that relationship on. Hey, you can trust me to take care of your clients or to help you build your business a little bit more streamlined than what it already is. And that's really what you're speaking to when it comes to a real estate agent that I know of. I mean, I'm not the smartest person in the world, but that's kind of how I kind of see everything. But then when you're talking to a consumer, it's basically, hey, I'm here to make sure you're not making a bad investment. I'm here to make sure your family is safe in the home. It's more of, hey, it's basically my tagline is where it's basically, we inspect homes like our grandmother's going to be living there. That one speaks more straight to the consumer versus a real estate agent. And that's really where we're trying to focus, is the end consumer needing our services to that degree. I've had countless reviews from myself, my other inspectors, with people stating, you basically gave me the confidence on purchasing this property, or you've saved my family from, some type of health hazard. So, and it's really, that's the kind of the goal is, hey, our reviews really speak volumes to these clients, and I'd rather have that and that voice of a big sum of people versus trying to get that, I guess, relationship up and going that may take 3 or 4 months to even do that. If I can help these people now, that's the route we're kind of trying to go. Especially in these new markets that we're in, like Atlanta and Columbus. That's really the way that we're going to build our business is that type of foundation there.
So as you're shifting more towards customer focused, client focused, What do the review? Where do the reviews come into play? Is that something that you push out, other than just people seeing them on Google or something like that? Do you use those reviews and lean on them and leverage them by sending them out?
We do a lot of social media with the reviews that we do get, because some of the reviews are immaculate. Honestly, I mean, I don't even know if people collect reviews the way we try to, which I know there's a lot of companies that do, but it's the content inside of the review that we really look for, because you can get a 5-star review and nothing being written. And so it doesn't mean anything to you as the entrepreneur. It's like, okay, great. Like, I don't know what we did, but great. I'm glad you gave me a 5-star review. But when people take the time out to write you a 5-star review and then write you a long, drawn out paragraph of how a certain inspector did the whole process of taking the order on time, the communication throughout the process, and then the thoroughness on the inspection and getting it back within, less than 24 hours. It just when somebody writes that information, it lets the next consumer see, all right, this is how this company works. This is what this company stands for. And I'm comfortable making a purchase with this company. And that's kind of what we try to just give to the consumer, let them see that, and hopefully they'll make a educated decision at that point.
Yeah. And the reason why I ask is because I'm sure there are a lot of guys out there who are kind of just starting or trying to grow their business that are saying, hey, I've started to get reviews in, but I don't know how to leverage them. And so one thing that I think is a great place to start with that, a great starting block, would be go look at Desmond's website, where he has a testimonials page. And Desmond, you have some fantastic reviews. You're not lying there. But you do take it a step further. So do you mind if I point people in the direction of your website here?
Yeah, go ahead. It's ThorntonHomeInspections.net. Like I said, we are revamping the website, but it's right now you can see a lot of stuff. But I don't know if anybody has heard of Blip Reviews. Call my buddy Sheen. Get signed up with their program on getting reviews. That has made a really big impact on my review collection of doing that. So if you are interested or starting out, get in touch with some type of review company that can help you capture those reviews. But Blip has been the best thing that I've run across.
And so once you capture those reviews, so go to Desmond's website, ThorntonHomeInspections.net, and then there's a testimonials page. Go check that out. Scroll down a little bit. So not only do you have all these reviews you've captured that are then posted up there, these are text reviews where someone has written on Google or Facebook and written a review. But also right above that, Desmond has some video testimonials. So have you noticed that those are very effective for you? Is that something that's worth doing for someone who's looking to really get a good start in this and grow their business through testimonials?
I would say yes. And I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. Those people that are in the video reviews, I was scared to death to even ask them to leave a review. So it's very, I guess, people can feel people, through those video testimonials. I mean, you can read it, which that has a very good impact on consumers. But if I can see and experience the actual body language of that person talking about our company, because some companies will do like paid actors to do some of these reviews. I can't do that. I don't feel comfortable doing that. And so the scary part for me was asking these people to do the video testimonials, and they were honored to even do it. But it's just ask your past clients to give you those reviews. And it's funny you bring that up, because like now we're actually getting ready to do some new ones, and I didn't ask anybody. They contacted me. It was a family that we did an inspection for. Their parents actually put out movies like Thor and all these big Marvel movies. They're in that space, and they wanted to do one for free with their kids. And I was like, yeah, sure, we could do that. And I was like, I need to ask about 3 or 4 more people to come to their studio to do all of that stuff, and they're going to do it for free. So it's always good to kind of figure out what your clientele actually does for work. Like even that, let's back it up a little bit. The website is actually getting redone by a past client that just offered, because like I said, it kind of goes back to the reviews where they leave that information on saying about our company. And this guy even just offered, it's like, hey, I want to give you some free information just to see if we can help you. And when he did, I was like, oh my God, I need that. So he's helping us do that, and to where we can be a more effective company overall. And these are people that, we worked with, we helped their families to get into a home. So, I mean, your network goes beyond just real estate agents. That's kind of the big thing I can tell you. There's always clients that can help you grow your business, improve your business, if you just ask what they do.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So this is a good time for a quick break. So we are going to take a quick moment to hear a word from our sponsor, Pair Payments, that can help add profit to your business right away, right off the top. So we are going to take a quick break. We will be right back with some more challenges and ways to pivot. All right?
The home inspection industry is highly competitive, and you need an edge to stay on top. You certainly can't afford to give profit away for no reason. But what if I told you credit card processors may be overcharging you and robbing you of profits you've worked hard to earn? It's time to put an end to being overcharged for payment processing. It's time to take back your profits. That's why we've put together a free report, How to Avoid Being Overcharged by Your Payment Processor. Head over to TakeBackYourProfits.com, download the report, and put an end to being overcharged for credit card processing. You've worked hard for your sales, and you deserve to keep it. What are you waiting for? Go to TakeBackYourProfits.com and download your report today.
All right, and we are back. So Desmond, thank you for this great episode so far. A couple more challenges I want to touch on. You had mentioned off air skipping inspections and interest rates. And so we can start with whichever you want to start with, but let's get into some more of these challenges that require home inspectors to pivot.
Yeah, so let's talk about the skipping of inspections. This was more relevant back, I guess you could say, December, January, up until today, where people were having to skip inspections or not even, do anything to where it can make their purchase more educational for them. So I had a call. This is a story, but I had a call from a client to schedule an inspection, and so we scheduled it. Nothing weird out of the way. She calls back about 10 minutes later and says, "Hey, I have to cancel my inspection, or my offer will not be accepted." And At this time, this is like one of my first interactions with people actually having to skip or not even have an inspection to even get their offer accepted. So I was like, okay, all I can do is say good luck, because that's really what you're getting into. I said, and the way I kind of helped her was, hey, once you get possession of the property, you have a certain amount of time where you can actually say, no, I don't want this property. And I think the maximum I've heard is like 8 days or something after you take possession of the property. So I told her, hey, once you buy it, call us. We'll come out and do an inspection, get your stuff back to you quickly, and then you can make this decision on staying with the property. And that has helped, kind of pivoting from the fact that you have to skip the whole thing. This is something that you can do to kind of help you out as a homeowner. And it's funny that happened. Yeah, it's funny that happened because that particular address that she was pursuing, someone else called us and we did an inspection for them on that house. She didn't even get a chance to even get the house, even regardless if she, did the inspection or not. So it just seeing people having to do that really was disturbing, because they just don't know what they're getting into. And there's been countless horror stories that I've read online that people have bought houses sight unseen, no inspection, and then walk into a bomb just went off at their new property. So I try to tell people not to do any of that, but they do it anyway, and they buy these houses, and they have to deal with the consequences.
Yeah.
So we pivoted off of people having to skip. Yeah. So we pivoted off of people having to skip those and giving them kind of solutions or, suggestions to do if they have to go that route. We actually, in the state of Tennessee, we got a letter from the state. I think this has something to do with the home inspection side of the state licensing board. And it was basically telling us to let them know what agents were telling their clients not to skip home inspections, which me personally, I thought that was crazy. I'm like these are my referral sources. Why would I, try to throw them under the bus when, that's kind of weird. I thought that was like kind of much for the state to actually do that. I'd rather them reach out to the clients, directly, because honestly, if they told them to skip a home inspection, the home inspector probably doesn't even know. They probably didn't even get a call. So I think that's a little much. And another way that we kind of combated people skipping home inspections is through memes. We used a lot of memes trying to educate people on how to navigate this world right now, because it's been a challenge for everybody across the country, and that kind of rolls right into the interest rate hike that we sustained the last couple of months. Month. Honestly. So like I refinanced my house for like a low 2 something rate, and now it's like 5, maybe 6 in certain areas. Where what happened for us, I think it was in April, where everything kind of came to a dead stop for like a couple of days, which was a drastic couple of days. It basically told us that these interest rates make a big effect on the market, because I had a client reach out to us saying that they had to cancel their inspection because they did not qualify for that property anymore because of the interest rate hike. It was a $500,000 house, and they had it pre-approved and everything, and then when the interest rate hit, it dropped them from the $500,000 down to $375, what they can afford.
Wow.
And so the problem with that was there was no houses in our area that actually were available at that price point. So they had to completely stop doing inspection or doing the whole process of purchasing a house anyway, because there was no houses in the area and their price point.
Wow.
So that's happened a lot that I've ran across.
So with these interest rate hikes, have you been able to find a good solution to kind of combat that obstacle?
Not necessarily. We've ran across trying to help sellers in a sense of, hey, we can do a free inspection for you, or we could do like just a maintenance inspection to kind of tell you what's going to happen at the property, see if it would be beneficial to you to do some repairs before you list it. That's not really picked up because it's still a seller's market and they don't think there's anything wrong with their house. So that's another thing you got to deal with. But we have been going to for sale by owners without real estate agents and kind of educating them to see if they would, bite and see what's going on. So we're doing direct mail, we're doing ads, we're doing SEO work. So we're trying to do anything and everything just to educate people on what's going on right now.
So I know a lot of people talk about SEO. I'm wondering, what does that look like for your company? What have you been doing with SEO?
So we've been trying to utilize keywords that are more effective in this particular atmosphere of the market. For sale by owner, newly constructed, new home, the actual city inspector near us. That's kind of the hallmark of things that we've done. but there's always, like, what do you call it? There's SEO rush that you can pay for to kind of find keywords yourself. Basically, I farm that out because I'm not that person to do that.
You recommend finding a third party?
I do because you're, as the entrepreneur, you can only do so much. And so delegating that, especially if that's not your cup of tea or your expertise. So yeah, farming that out to someone that you trust, that you vetted. You need to know a little bit about it, but you don't need to know everything. You just need to know enough to where you can make a correct decision for your company going forward. And that's really where I would most definitely stay at.
All right, yeah, absolutely. We see a lot of people that they come on the show, they talk about not trying to wear too many hats. You get to a point where you need to delegate and find a third party to farm that out to, because you can't do everything, and there are people who are experts in that. You're not an expert in everything, right?
Right. And don't think you are. I mean, even really going back to home inspections, as a home inspector, you don't know everything. And if you do, that may be an issue. Because that means that you're not willing to learn. You're not willing to adapt. And that's key to home inspections, because to me, I don't see the same house every day. So I have to adapt daily as just a technician. So if you can do that, and as an entrepreneur, you need to be able to do that also.
I love that. Someone once told me that wisdom is knowing what you don't know. So I love that. I think that, there's no end to knowledge, so you got to know what you don't know. And when it comes to SEO and marketing, your time can be spent much more effectively and efficiently in things that you're more specialized in, like growing your business for every other aspect than SEO. So I love all those things you're talking about, but there's one thing that really, really stuck out to me, which is pivoting from the people who are skipping inspections. I love that you are using memes to combat that. You're combating that with memes. So I want to circle back to that, because I'm glad we talked about interest rates and all that, but I want to know, this is just so low cost and easy to do. I want to know, what does that look like? What kind of memes? Where do you put them out? And what kind of engagement have you gotten on that? Because that's something that anyone can do starting today. You could shut off the podcast and do that.
So the memes are so organic. They really are. They kind of come off of situations that you either go through that day, and you just want to, I guess, visually tell the client or tell the agent or tell the audience what is going on in your industry. So I have one. I'll tell you a couple of them. So I have one that is talking about skipping your home inspection. And basically it's I don't know if anybody watched WandaVision.
Oh yeah, great show.
If you've watched WandaVision, the Agatha Harkness, it's her, and basically she's winking at you, and in the title we wrote, skip your home inspection, it'll be just fine. And it's something of that nature, and just like, do you really trust that? Is the question of the meme. Like, do you really think that that's your best benefit? And so we've done stuff like that. And we've done some funny ones where I think it was, we love Marvel. If nobody doesn't notice this, we love Marvel. And we used Spider-Man. One of the memes where it was Spider-Man and Marcus Morales in that particular movie. And they were bent down, and they were looking at I guess, a gravesite or something. And basically it was like the inspector doing his inspection, and then it was the homeowner. That's the Harkness. Yeah.
So anyone who's on the video version on YouTube, or if you're on Spotify, you can run over to the YouTube or check out Desmond's Facebook page, Thornton Home Inspections on Facebook. But he has some of these memes up in his photos, and I'm showing right now in the video version this Agatha Harkness meme, and this is great. So sorry to interrupt you there. I just wanted to show off some.
No, go ahead.
Oh, this is great. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So it just kind of came from situations that happen. it's weird because like this one, I love this one because it was like a homeowner that we did an inspection on their house and then somebody else is trying to buy it, and then the homeowner was like, "You're looking into electrical panel, you don't even know what you're looking at," and I was like, "Okay." And all this training, yeah, exactly. All this years of training went to waste because I don't know what I'm talking about. So these are some of the memes that kind of came over those situations.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's great. So,
but you got to be inspired sometimes to do that.
Yeah, and thank you for letting me share these on here because I think it just goes to show like how easy this can be to post something like this on Facebook. Do you make these yourself? Is this something you're inspired and you make them yourself easy?
Yeah, it was me situations that came up and I was like, how can I express myself without offending anybody?
Yeah.
And that was really the thing, is like, because you go through so much and you have so much liability, and for people to question the legitimate facts on a property and saying that you're trying to fabricate something, kind of hits your integrity a little bit. And it just like, how can I express myself without causing any issues? And usually that was the way I did it. I did it for a long time, and I still utilize a lot of the memes that I created back when I was that inspired. And today we still create memes on like Canva. We use a lot of our reviews and put them on the back sides of Canva documents and just see how that people respond to that. Because for me, it got to a point where if I'm putting up the same thing all the time, it got redundant and I didn't want to see it. So I was like, I gotta do something to put some pizzazz in some of these reviews and some of these memes to see if I can, get something good to come out of it. And a lot of people respond to certain ones like the spiders and the snakes, and those are usually the go-to for a lot of people. But then I want people to be able to think a little bit for themselves too. So I want them to read these memes and like think, okay, is this the best thing for me and my family? Or is this something that, is not going to be beneficial to me? Yeah, that's my favorite. Literally, that is my favorite.
And I want to point to something in here, which is that I'm looking through your Facebook to see these photos, and it immediately draws your eye to it, whether it's lost in a sea of a million photos of houses and home inspectors and deals you're offering. This stuff sticks out because of the intellectual property, right? You're using Marvel here, these Marvel characters that people recognize and they look to immediately. So you can make a post like this and someone's going to lock onto it, and you're kind of piggybacking off of the known characters here and the fact that people have a connection to them, they love them. And conveniently, you can't be sued because of parody law. You can use all the characters you want, and as long as you're memeing it and making it a joke and something funny about it, you're protected. It's the same thing that Weird Al used to do. So, like with White and Nerdy, that's why he wasn't able to be sued. Parody law. So take advantage of this IP that's so strong, and that this is a hilarious meme. So to anyone who can't see it, it's meanwhile at a home inspection, and the home inspector is leaning down. Looking at something, and the little guy, Miles Morales, it says, "The seller that stayed home for the inspection," staring over his shoulder. So I think that these are funny, they're great, they're relevant, and I really think that even if it adds a little bit of levity to your site, it does add that spice, the pizzazz. It's novel, and it sticks out. Amongst the noise. There's so much noise. You're fighting for people's attention. Right, on every social media app, everyone's inundated with 1 million messages a day. So you're fighting for people's attention. And if you can get them to look at your company for a second out of the day because they saw a good meme that you made, I think that is a great, low-cost way to get attention.
I totally agree. And we try to just let it organically happen. That's really the best way to do it for my company, because I don't like to just sit here and try to manipulate people when it comes to just content that we create. It's basically has to be a story behind it. Like that one that we just showed, that actually happened at a home inspection. So that's where that came from.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah,
it's like being a comedian, right? You're just aware of your surroundings, and then now all you have to do is take those little stories, and they're great content. Yeah.
yep, 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 yep.
So that's clearly working for you, Desmond. But I'm wondering, since we last spoke, is there anything you shifted away from because it wasn't working, or is there anything you leaned into more because it's working so well?
I think I lean more out of the Google ads at the moment. Just because Google was actually doing some updating to their platform and a lot of things have been changing, so you have to learn new stuff. So I pulled away from that. I actually getting ready to dip back into that because I was more focused on relationship building, coming out of IEB, learning that aspect of marketing and the way they approach certain things. I kind of used that as a canvas for the last year and a half of what I'm doing. But the interest rates and I guess of whatever the volatility of the market made that kind of more of a irrelevant situation because you can build these relationships, but if ain't nobody buying houses or there's not enough houses to buy, you still have to fight that whole uphill battle. So it kind of gave it to me where I'm more focused on getting to the end consumer and getting them to understand what we are and who we are and what we stand for, to where it would make them more aware of us. And if we are on their agent's list, which is where every home inspector wants to be, is on somebody's list. If we're on that list and also we're with their mortgage agent's list of people, because I don't know if anybody really reaches out to mortgage companies as a home inspector, but if you don't, I'd probably consider it, just because those are the people with the money. I mean, you can't really do much if you ain't got the loan officer. So reach out to them and market to them just as much as you market to the real estate agents.
That's interesting. I haven't heard anyone say that on this podcast yet, so I appreciate that. How did you come across that? Was there a story there?
Just logic, honestly. It kind of, when I first started home inspections, I was like, who has the money? It wasn't the real estate agent. It was always the lender or the banker or somebody like that would actually be fronting the money so you can purchase the house. Of course, some people have cash and they have it like that. They don't need that. But that's usually the first source. You should be, the order that I've learned real estate is you should get pre-approved before you start looking for a house, which 90% of the time that doesn't happen. People look for houses, oh, I want to get this house, and then they try to get pre-approved and they can't get approved. That usually is what it kind of, because they're looking out of their actual price range. So the pre-approval to me is the most important thing. So we go there first and talk to them and build a relationship with them. And they'll tell us, well, why do you come talk to us? We, don't refer home inspectors. And my usually comeback is, yeah, that's great. But the times that they don't have real estate agents or they ask you before, they may not have the trust that they have with you versus their real estate agent. Like, how can we help that client at that point? And so I'll tell them, real estate agents want you to buy this house. Mm-hmm. You as a mortgage agent don't care what house they buy as long as they get one.
Yeah.
So that's my thought process when it comes to that, and it's worked well for us.
Yeah, smart. You got to follow the money, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Show me the money.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
So, wow, what an episode full of movie references and great home inspection business advice. So, Desmond, before we wrap up today, is there anything else you want to share? Are there any resources that you'd want to point anyone in the direction of, any podcasts, books, anything you're into now?
The biggest thing probably for me is what we talked about earlier is Blip, getting reviews for your company. Those are really, really important. So if you're not doing that, reach out to a company such as Blip. And there's others out there that can help also, but just companies like that can help your business. And then also, get you an IT person. Let them monitor your presence on the internet to where people actually are finding you correctly. Because honestly, in my main market, I wasn't showing up like I was supposed to be. And that really irked me because I thought I was. So things of that nature, always have somebody looking at your web presence and actually knowing what's working for you and what's not. Have that meeting with that person. If you have to and you can afford it, put them on payroll, something, because that person is very vital to your success in your business.
Absolutely. Wow. So thank you for all this insight, Desmond. We really appreciate it. I love having you on as always, and it was good to catch up with you. So thank you for joining us again.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
My pleasure. So yeah, thank you to the audience. We really appreciate it. Keep engaging. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all the above. And thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Inspection Pros Podcast. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the bell so you won't miss our next episode. This episode was produced by Jake Aronson. This has been a Pair Payments production.